Good morning YouTube, British model railway enthusiasts and everybody else out there in the WWW. Welcome to Partickhill Station. I'm Charlie. So today we're going to be running two very special trains. The LMS Coronation Scot and a Black5 with a rake of Scotrail West Highland Railway green and cream coaches. So let's have a look at them and see what's happening around the station. So I have an issue with my Brio camera. It froze up on me. Hopefully it will come back into play, and also we'll get it back running hopefully and see how things go. So there is the Black5 with the Scotrail West Highland Railway coaches heading back in towards the station, and the Coronation Scot in the opposite direction. As I said, unfortunately you can't see on cam 1 because it's frozen, but in the third camera there you can see what's happening in and out of the station. The West Highland Railway coaches are hand painted, or they were converted from Lima Mark 1 coaches, and the guy who did all that work decided to sell the set, and I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time, and was able to pick those coaches up. And terrific set. They look great, they run great, and one of them's missing a coupling, but I'll get that fixed. And one of them has a tail light on the rear. I'm not sure if it's in the rake or it's maybe another coach that's still in the box somewhere. So before I started, I was having some problems with the LMS Coronation Loco 6220, and I had to substitute it with the Sir Nigel Gresley LNER number 7, which is actually a Hornby 00 two-rail loco. Obviously not appropriate to the rivet counters, but just in order to get it going and to see it from afar, I decided to use that until I could get the Coronation LMS working. So as you can see, you know, in some of these close-ups, as the train, or at least the Black5 and the West Highland Railway Scotrail coaches pass through, really a beautiful set. And the Black5 I purchased brand new, if I recall correctly. I have 2 or 3 Black5s, but the other ones have got little issues that I have to attend to. But this one runs very smoothly, a great runner, and that's the Hornby 45422. Now the one thing about the Coronation Scot coaches, they are the original. Let me see, get this box out. The 422 and R423 coaches, and they're really nice. They're well made, but I find them just a little bit light and I may end up having to add a little bit of weight on them because I get the odd derailment with them every now and again. But certainly a beautiful sight to see it running through the station. And there are photographs and film clips of it leaving Queen Street Station and heading out through the tunnel, or at least other A4s, maybe not the Coronation Scot. They were very common in Glasgow, of course, and the LNER was in through Edinburgh. You know, having 8 coaches on there, it's a pretty long train to come into the station, but it just looks great going through. Excuse me. It's a bit dry here right now, so I have to clear my throat every now and again. So I'm doing a voiceover on this. What actually happened was I was going live on StreamYard and didn't realise there was no audio. So it was a problem and a challenge. If it's not an echo or it dropping off in this particular occasion, the audio didn't come through whatsoever. And I'm not really quite sure how that happened. Possibly I pressed the wrong mute button and cancelled out all the audio. So this is just a different way of doing it, and I hope it comes across well. And what I had to do was download from StreamYard the recorded video, and then open it up in iMovie and do the recording. So hopefully it will work out okay. Now, as you can see, I'm replacing the LNER loco with the LMS Coronation. Not quite sure what the issue was with it. It was maybe not sitting correctly on the rail, and this is a tender driven one, of course, and you know, it could have been a number of little things that just weren't working right. Maybe all the wheels weren't properly engaged on the track, or maybe it's one of those rubber tyre issues, but I think it's fixed now, and we can proceed as normal. And I'm sure you'll forgive me for having the wrong loco on there. Now, the nice thing about the layout at the opposite end there from the station is I do have those 3 loops in each direction, and you know, that allows me to have some storage, as you can see, as well as running trains through there. But if I was wanting to change that, you know, it may require a couple of crossovers so that I can get the up and the down line on the outside, and then the inside loops acting as a fiddle yard on the inside. And that might be a chore, but I'll look into it and see what the possibilities are, what it would take. Is it complicated? Now, given that I don't have any wired points, it should be relatively easy. It just might require some additional point work to go in there. Maybe I should try it out first on any rail and see what we can come up with on that. Well, as you can see, there are other Scottish region locomotives around the layout. The Class 37 number 415 England, Wales and Scotland, or Scottish loco, is sitting there in the station, as is the SPT Car DMU, and at the other end of the layout is a Class 29 which was made in Glasgow. So a very Scottish day here at Partickhill Station. And you know, for those of you who are not familiar with the layout, I was born in Partick, which is an area in the west end of Glasgow, and there was a line that went all the way through to Edinburgh to the east, and also out to Helensburgh down the coast on the north side of the River Clyde. And the station was called Partick, and Partickhill was that area. So I just named the station here Partickhill. And you'll see as you look around the layout, there is a tenement building which I constructed, scratch built, made it from grey card and black poster board and a little bit of clay to form the chimneys, or the chimney stacks. So and some of the cuttings on the other side of the tunnel are sort of reminiscent of cuttings up the west coast of Scotland. And you know, the Black5 and the West Highland Railway Scotrail coaches would at one point leave Glasgow Queen Street and head up to Fort William and then over to the Kyle of Lochalsh. Now, I believe those coaches were taken out of service in the 1960s or early 70s. I'm not sure what the status of them are, or where they are, if they weren't scrapped. You can still get a steam day special going from Fort William out to the Kyle of Lochalsh, and that takes you over the Glenfinnan Viaduct, and you can see the monument to Bonnie Prince Charlie at the head of the loch, where he waited for his clansmen to come over the hill, but not all of them arrived, as it happened. And well, you know the outcome there, and the rest is history, as we would say. So we'll just let the trains run for a little while, let you enjoy that. You need to excuse the finger work on the camera there. As you notice, got a little bit of a derailment there, just as I had described earlier. And I needed to put my iPhone down because I'm using the iPhone as a third camera, which can be a bit dodgy at times. And it also unfortunately contributes to echoes if you don't set it all up carefully enough. Now, the reason you see that gantry structure, girder structure on the platform there is that forms part of the canopy that goes over the station. But I've left it off at the moment until I can ballast within the station and finish painting the rails. And once I get that all done, then I'll finish off the canopy and get it back in place, and also maybe extend the platform closest to the main street. Like that platform there has to be extended out to the left a bit. I just have to find the appropriate Hornby sections. They're easily to come by if you get to a model train show. There's always somebody selling little bits and pieces like that. Here you can see part of the town, and there's a tenement building. And at the back there's some concrete style walls that I made. You can see them on the left there, and that's made out of foam core and just painted with various colours and layers of acrylic paint to get that concrete look. And added some flock, and also straightened out some paper clips and embedded them into the foam core to make it look as if it's some rebar that is being exposed by the spalling of the concrete. Now that's a nice scene of those two trains meeting as they go through the station. Very relaxing sitting here running these trains, especially when it's predominantly problem free. I think for the most part I've solved all the issues with the track that I'd experienced in the past, and that was always very frustrating when I'd get derailments. But I worked studiously on the points and the track, and everything seems to be going a-okay, touch wood. So as you look a little bit closer there, you can see I've got a walkway across the tracks. I made that out of Starbucks coffee sticks, and you can see where I've added ballast and some bushes and a tree near the tunnel, just to add effect. And I've got a couple of relay boxes there also. All these little bits help. I get people on the platform, people on the trains, try to get a crew on the locomotives, which I think is always important. If you look closely at that Barton Arms, you can see there's a guy waiting to get in the door. So all these little cameos and vignettes around the layout certainly help bring it to life. And there's the bridge that I made after watching Tony Northeastern, who did a great bridge build, and I got my old draftsman tools out and laid it out on the floor and got some mat board and drew it out, cut everything, glued it all together, painted it, weathered it to make it look as good as it does now. And that's a nice sight of both trains going under the bridge there. And that's a warehouse, brewery type place, and then the old Highland church in the corner. You can see that class 29 there with a rake of oil tankers in the scrapyard in the corner with my Logitech C920 camera. So that area there is pretty detailed, and I'll probably do a bit more work on it. And you can see some of the trees that I've made around the layout, help bring a little bit of something else to the layout. I think I would have enjoyed a larger layout, but this is the area I was afforded, and you know, at the end of the day, it's quite a nice layout. I can easily operate it. I know that I had issues in the past with points and trains derailing, but you know, we got the hang of it and got it sorted. And you know, I'm adding in a shuttle service just in front of the station here, and it's from a company called Circuitron, and I bought it in the States, a little unit, and I'm just doing the final wiring on it, and then we'll get that operating, and I may put one of the DMUs on that shuttle just in front of the station there, and it will go back and forth while the main line is going around. Last week when I did the live show, I think there were 6 or 7 of you on the chat line, but later there was over 30 on YouTube. That's just interesting numbers. You know, once you understand that in 00 scale, trains shouldn't run too fast, so there's a fine line in there. You like to get the sensation of a locomotive and coaches like the Coronation set hurtling through the station into the tunnel, but in reality they never went that fast in terms of a scale speed, and that's something you have to work out and get the perfect balance so that it doesn't look out of place. And I think I'm at that point now where I can get 2 trains running at the same time in either direction, and a reasonable speed to demonstrate the power of the locomotives and a bit of reality of a train coming through the station, not stopping and continuing on. I've tried to weather the retaining wall and the portals for around the tunnel to make them look a bit more realistic, and the next step is to get into the buildings that make up the main street there above the station and weather them down so that they don't stand out too much and don't look as if they just came right out the box. But if you look around at some of the other buildings that I've got here, I've actually weathered them a bit, and the retaining walls have been weathered, and look a bit more realistic. And it's all these little bits that you can do that will enhance your overall look of your station, or sorry, the layout. Well, I really appreciate everybody who's joined in and watched this and left a comment. I hope you did, because I know that your time is important and that there are lots of channels out there to watch and listen to, and lots of very, very good layouts. So I really appreciate you taking the time to join me here today at Partickhill Station. Well, I hope you enjoyed this recorded voiceover session of those two beautiful trains running around my layout, Partickhill Station. And remember, give me the big thumbs up if you in fact did enjoy it. And you know, you'll always get a warm welcome back here at the station. Bye for now.